Welcome back to another GTI video, and today we start the project of taking out these stock GTI seats and setting everything up that's needed for a 6-point harness and race seats. Down here I've got a giant box from Sparco. We're going to unbox that, and then I got another box from Sparco with all the mounts to put that into play. To save a little money, I'm going to be taking my current EVO S out of my Corvette, and I'm going to be putting that in the passenger side of this car, and then the new EVO S that my wife just bought, that is going in the driver's side. And then eventually, when I get the LS3 back in this, I'm gonna get more of a containment seat for my head. I wanna have a little bit more protection in the C5 since I'm tripling the horsepower. It's gonna be a lot faster and I wanna have a little more protection in there. So the EVO S's are going in here. Anyway, let's get this unboxed. So let's give it up to Sparco. This is the second large delivery I've got for them. Everything was well packaged, nothing damaged. So this is what like $1,700 looks like. The Sparco seat, that's the EVO S. It is their smallest EVO seat, their smallest and lightest seat. This thing is extremely light. This base mount weighs more than the seat does, which is crazy. This is solid steel and very heavy. I did not expect that. I paid extra for the aluminum rails because these are like 2 pounds or so. But this is what it's going to look like. Passenger side, we're not going to be putting the slider in it. That's just going to be hard mounted because it's passenger, you don't need it. And then on the driver's side, we got their slider kit. So you'd go base station, a base, and then that slider kit goes on, mounts to this, and then these mount to the slider, seat mounts in between these. And like I said, I'm going to be using my other EVO S out of my other race car to the passenger side of this because she's getting different seats. But these Sparcos, this has been a very comfortable seat for me, and it fits my wife very well. So might as well put them in her car. Anyway, let's start to see what it's going to take to put these in the car. Should be pretty simple. Looking online, it didn't show this mounting clip anywhere, so I really wish it doesn't. I thought it didn't use that mounting style because look at this. When this thing is in here, it's just the worst mounting mechanism ever. So I don't know. Let's get this thing out, which is pretty simple. Take this little bolt out there, and then you slide it all the way back. And then the seat comes right out. So we'll get this out and mock up this on the driver's side. So I was a little skeptical about how this would fit and if it'd be strong enough, but like it is super strong. So basically the way it works is these little tabs slide into the rails, the normal rails. If you have a Mark II, you know, they just slides in. The way I found out to get them in the easiest is to loosen these a lot, like considerably, to where there's barely any thread showing on that. And once you do that, basically it slides in pretty well. It doesn't want to fit, like it looks like it's not wide enough. So that's why you loosen it a lot. And then you get it in there, you slide it in place. I just slid mine in and got this to lock on the front of the seat. And then you just tighten it down real tight. And I put a level on it because there's some movement left to right. So that way it's level now. So when I put the seat in, the seat will be level with the car. That's dead simple. I'm gonna put the track on top and then the rails and then the seat. Should be pretty quick. I'm probably gonna replace this because this is not gonna move anymore. So I'm probably gonna replace this with a bolt. All right, so I didn't video the install or time lapse or anything like that. I'll do that for the other side. But just quick tips and takeaways is this install is a little bit harder to move forward and backwards when you're out of the car. When you're in the seat, very easy. Just for this mounted on this car, there's 2 holes here and 2 on that side. I mounted it on the inside hole and the outside hole on this. So that lined up just perfectly to get this onto the base. And then I have it on its highest mount. I put this on here just because it was scratching really easy. And this is my wife's car. And I know I'm gonna be taking it in and out to make it fit for her perfectly. So I kind of got it where I think it's gonna be. She rides with her seat on the driver's side almost all the way forward. So this doesn't quite line up, but it's pretty close. It's really close to the front. I think this will work for her. If not, I'm gonna have to really do some changes here because this is as far forward as it goes with the stock holes, and I could drill ones a little bit closer to get maybe 3/4 of an inch or so closer, but that's kind of it without changing how this base actually mounts in the car, which is pretty solid. You see it moves around a little bit, but that's more so moving on this slider than anything else. So yeah, works pretty good. I'm gonna start on the other one, and then gonna have my wife sit in it and make sure it fits her perfectly, and then I'll get started on the other side. I'm gonna do a side-by-side comparison of weight between this whole setup and a stock setup so I get an idea, because that base is so heavy. I think that base is going to basically overshadow the weight savings of this seat compared to the stock, because the stock seats aren't that heavy. Stock seat has a built-in bracket, weighs 11.34 pounds. Yeah, as I edit this, I realize I had it set to kilograms. That's actually 25 pounds. There's going to be a lot of corrections in the next couple minutes here. Let's see how much the Sparco weighs. First, I'm going to try just the bottom base by itself. Pounds. 5, 6, 5 for just the frame, plus maybe an extra pound just for this. Heavier than I thought. According to this, 23.37 pounds. Plus the 5 or 6, it's 29 pounds. Now this is got the brackets on both sides. They're the aluminum ones, which I can tell you are a lot lighter than the steel ones. And then the seat rack. So overall, 4.29 pounds heavier. Totally recommended over stock. Way stronger, way more supportive, and way more comfortable. The other one went in real easy. Same thing. Put the base in real quick. That was easy. You know, loosen, slide it in, tighten down, good to go. One thing I'm noticing, the track sliders, the holes in the sliders match perfectly with these holes, but these brackets do not line up at all. As you can see there, they just don't line up. And because I'm not putting sliders on this side, looks like the furthest back I can mount this is there, and you'll see that that's as far back as the seat will be. I was kind of hoping to be back a little further because I was hoping to keep the weight a little bit further rear if there's a passenger in the vehicle, but oh well. I think the seats are just going to have to be there. So I'm going to mock this up, drill some holes for these, bolt them to the floor, and I just got done getting my seat, my other EVO S, out of my my Corvette. So let's get this transported over here and mock up this, drill these holes, bolt it in, call it done. Well, done for now. I temporarily installed these because we have a really interesting race coming up for our first race, and it requires throwing beanbags into the car. It's a relay thing. I'll link it up above. Anyway, it's much easier with regular seat belts, so I'm going to keep them in just for that time, and so we can have regular seat belts. Also, in case the harness bar and stuff doesn't show up in time, this will give me some way to at least drive the car, even with the race seats. So let's get to work. So I forgot to mention, if you have a really tight cockpit, like in the Corvette, there's a lot of stuff in the way. A car like this is a little easier. You can actually get to the side mounting bolts, but if you don't, if you just temporarily connect this on its highest up setting, and then you can kind of position it exactly where you want it. If you were just bolting this through, you can bolt it now. I'm going to mark out where these holes line up so I can drill it out and then get it bolted. Call this done. But that's about where, if you're ever going to, so if you're wondering where you want to static mount this car, that's where it's going to be, almost lined up with the pillars there. That's just where it ends up. So if you want it any further back or forward, you're going to need, I guess it'll go forward about 2 inches. You're going to need the E-track to move it forward and backwards, but not for our passenger. They're stuck here. So these are the modifications I need to make this thing fit my wife, since that's as far forward as that one's stock, hard mounted, but normally it would mount like this. But we want it forward by 2 more inches, and I thought about re-drilling a bunch of holes in this, but then the slider bracket is like way out here, and there's barely any of it actually attached to this. I'm kind of trying to decide whether or not it's easier to drill the holes or this connector piece, because these back ones slide. They use the stock one, so you kind of slide them where you want them, tighten them down, and they don't move. So I'm thinking I'm just going to cut this off, turn it around so it's facing the backwards. I'm gonna put it just like that. So then it's forward a couple inches. And I think that's exactly what I want to do. I could say the Sparco did a good job welding. This used to be like that, pointed forward. Now, it's gonna be pointed backwards. Simple little change, ground down everything so I got a nice clean weld, cut it as straight as I could off the back of the weld, and then I'm gonna burn my way through this weld into the other one. Yeah, so clamp it, weld it, put it in the car. I'll paint it, then put it in the car. That actually worked pretty well. This used to be back here. Now it's there. It's probably a bit too far forward now, but I'm gonna put the seat in and see what it looks like. Overall, looks factory from here. I ran out of argon, so the welds aren't the prettiest. I won't show you those. You can critique me all you want. Anyway, super tight, very strong, and it's actually less flex in the front. Before, when this was mounted up front, there was a slight little bit more flex. There's a little bit less now. I think it's because you know, the angles within the square, or the mounting points within the square. So let's see what happens when I put the seat in. Well, I'm in the video here. It's done. They're all installed. This seat now goes further forward than you would ever want it to go because my wife's short, but it will also go back a decent amount now. I'm not quite that tall, maybe that tall, but looking good. Moves smoothly. Limited amounts of modifications to make it all fit. Sparcos look good. One thing I noticed is I have like a 2-year-old Sparco. You can see how it's flat right there on that padding. And on this, you have this, you can see it there, this like extra little padding. This is much better padding than that one. Yeah, I guess it's an improvement on the new Sparcos. Really nice. Well, check back, hit subscribe, be my co-driver to see the upcoming or the finalization of this whole project. Got the harness bar back there and just need the harness. And then I got to mock up and fabricate how I'm going to mount the harness to the floor in this car because it's never really designed to be a race car. So, yeah, hit subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.